I'm just laughing because he got beat up so bad. He got beat up so bad. Sorry, I'm just laughing. He got beat up so bad. Sorry, I'm just laughing.
Welcome to the motherfucking relay where we're covering today's top boxing news.
Man, he's got his head screwed on. That's what it's all about. Look, being a bit flashy is good because that's what sells. And I think with Ryan Garcia, I look with him. I just feel that he's trying hard to be something he's not. You know what I mean? Whereas Devin Haney is more of a chiller. You know what I mean? You can see he's always been up. His upbringing's been like that. Whereas Ryan Garcia seemed like the Oscar De La Hoya type good guy. You know what I mean? But now I see like a different side. How he's coming out a little bit different. But no disrespect to him. Look, he's a good fighter, man. But when it comes to that fight, he's a little bit robotic to me compared to Devin Haney. Devin Haney is more flashy.
I know how to put this in a nice way. Like, I'm really going to be as nice as I can to Amir just because he seems like a good guy, but, like, he's literally delusional as fuck. He doesn't know shit. Think about it right now. I'm going to tell you right now. Think about it. He had the same type of hand speed as me, right?
Yep.
He was explosive. He was on this shit. The thing he didn't have is the brain. He wasn't smart. When he fought, he just did dumb shit. And he only relied on the speed. The one thing I got speed and power. I got two things. And I got this. And I'm a fucking beast at all other aspects of boxing when it comes outside of boxing and everything. Like, he just didn't reach his full potential. And it's because he probably could have. He didn't. And now he wants to talk shit and say he's trying to act like something he's not. First of all, you don't know who I am. You don't know who I am. First of all, I might be a pretty boy and whatnot. But, like, if people get disrespectful, I'm going to get disrespectful. That's the difference between me and everybody else. Like, I don't have to act like Oscar De La Hoya. I don't have to act like anybody. Everybody's, I'm comparing to Oscar. You're comparing me. I'm not comparing myself. Hold up, I'm sorry.
No, that's cool.
I'm not comparing myself. I don't say I want to be Oscar. That's the problem with Gervonta. It's the problem with all these cats. Oh, I want to be like Floyd. I'm like Pretty Boy. First of all, be yourself. You're Gervonta and Davis. I am Ryan Garcia. We are the new generation.
That is Ryan Garcia addressing some of the recent comments made by one Amir Khan. This is what's making news now, though it does seem like much ado about nothing.
Yeah.
Since Ryan Garcia, he campaigns at 135. Last I checked, Amir Khan, he campaigns at 147. Does this materialize into a fight? I really don't think so. If it could, if it did, it would be an interesting situation given all the experience Amir Khan brings to the table in unison with how green Ryan Garcia is. That, Ryan shows a lot of promise. This kid, he could be the torchbearer for what the next generation will become. The next generation of pound-for-pound elite-level boxers. That's what he could be. So it would be interesting to see someone as green as Ryan with someone as experienced as Amir Khan. Though in truth, the discrepancies in weight between the two fighters make this fight, or the proposition of it, a non-starter. I mean, what are we actually talking about here? Are we talking about Amir Khan cutting down to, 140 or 135? Or are we talking about Ryan Garcia going up to 140 or 147? If you think Amir Khan versus Ryan Garcia is an interesting situation, an even more interesting situation would be trying to figure out how Amir Khan can make that weight without showing up half dead. I think that's a little bit more interesting. I think that needs to be reconciled. But that's not all, folks. Devin Haney threw his 2 cents into the mix. He didn't like some of the things that Amir Khan had to say. He says, Amir Khan said he was holding back on me, laughing my ass off. I helped him get ready for Bud. He paid to spar me. Now, he's on the list. This is in reference to Amir Khan's recent set of comments that, Devin Haney, ahead of what was the Terrence Crawford fight, Devin Haney helped him prepare for that fight. They sparred for something like, 14, 15 rounds, something like that.
Okay.
I don't really see what Devin Haney has to be upset about, given that Amir Khan was a lot more gracious when it came to Devin than he was when it came to Ryan. Amir Khan seemed to have had a very high opinion of Devin, so I'm not sure why Amir Khan would be on Devin Haney's list. More so, Devin Haney, he campaigns at 135, could be campaigning very soon at 140. So the same applies when it comes to Devin and Amir Khan. Are you trying to have a fight with this guy, and if so, where? 140 pounds, or are you moving up to 147? I'll tell you right now that I don't think Devin Haney's handlers are going to let him go up to 147 for Amir Khan, and I don't think that Amir Khan can make 140 pounds. Not healthy. So this does seem to be much ado about nothing. I don't think this is going to materialize into anything. Truth, it's very hard to gauge. What is there left for Amir Khan to do in the sport of boxing, given that these are the kind of names that he's being associated with? This is what's making news.
This shit.
And that Kell Brook fight, that fight seems about as distant as it ever was. I mean, we're no closer to that fight, least of all now that we're in the midst of a global pandemic. I have no expectations to see that fight happen. Although there is one situation I can think of that could be a very intriguing situation and what would be a feasible fight. You got Josh Kelly. He's supposed to have that fight with David Avanesian. Josh Kelly's a guy with a lot of unanswered questions. That's what he is. And it's not a lock that he makes his way past David Avanesian. Although if he does, I'd like to see a fight between Josh Kelly and Amir Khan. I think that if Josh can make his way past David once boxing resumes, I think that a Josh Kelly versus Amir Khan fight is an intriguing situation. As we all know, Josh Kelly comes from a good amateur background. He bronzed in the Olympics. He is now a pro, and he's one of these guys that has a lot of unanswered questions. Hasn't been looking his best as of late. Didn't look too hot against Ranowski.
No, he didn't.
On the undercard of Dave Allen versus Lucas Brown. He didn't look too hot against Ray Robinson on the undercard of the first Joshua versus Ruiz fight.
Called that a draw.
I don't hold too much against Josh for that performance, as, Ray Robinson, he did happen to go out there and make
Mean machine.
Igis Kavaliauskas look less than perfect. So perhaps it's a combination, or it was, a combination of Josh Kelly being a bit on the green side and Ray Robinson being more formidable, better than advertised. That's how you can explain the draw. Josh Kelly is a guy who's still making his bones as a professional. He's got a lot of unanswered questions. We hope to see some of those questions answered in the David Avanesian fight. And provided that he can pass that test, pass it with flying colors, answer some of those questions, I think an Amir Khan welterweight contest is in order. I think that that's a situation that could make a lot of sense. I mean, Amir Khan, he hasn't retired yet, has he?
No, he hasn't.
But he's not about to fight Kell Brook either.
No, he isn't.
I think of an Amir Khan versus Josh Kelly fight makes a little bit more sense. It's a little bit more realistic than tacking on the name of Amir Khan to either Devin Haney or Ryan Garcia. In spite of what news is being made, I don't look at either of those fights as realistic propositions for Amir Khan, whereas a Josh Kelly fight, it is doable, it is feasible. It wouldn't require Amir Khan to go anywhere, be right there at welterweight. Josh Kelly, very generous dimensions for the welterweight division, standing in at about 5'10", 72-inch wingspan, one of the welterweights that is on the bigger end of the spectrum. Just saying, I think that's a more realistic proposition. I think it makes a lot more sense. I'd rather see that than either Ryan versus Amir or Devin versus Amir. There's no news being made of it. I'm just throwing the idea out there that I think that's a situation that could come to pass. It makes a lot of sense, in spite of there not being any news of it. I'd sooner expect to see that than Devin Haney or Ryan Garcia versus Amir Khan. Comes to that, I reiterate, that's much ado about nothing. In heavyweight news, Ben Davisson, former trainer of Tyson Fury, had this to say. He says Wilder will be dangerous if he lets his hands go in the third Fury fight. He's quoted as saying, "It is an interesting one. I don't think the public will have the same sort of spice and interest as they did in the second one because of the demolition job that Tyson done in the second fight and the way he pinned down Wilder in the first fight." But the difference in the two fights was in the first fight. Our job was to lower, one of our main jobs was to lower Wilder's punch output because you know when you hit that hard, if you're letting your hands go, you're dangerous. It's as simple as that. We actually knew that due to the Luis Ortiz second fight and how that played out for Wilder. We knew that he was going to lower his own punch count going into that second fight with Fury. So he sort of played against himself in that job. Now his only option here is, going into this third fight, is he knows he can't outbox Tyson, and he knows he can't outman Tyson, so he's going to have to let his hands go, and I think that he's going to have a high punch count in this third fight, so that makes him dangerous. But it's how long can he keep it up for? So it'll be interesting to see how Tyson goes about that fight in the matter early on. If Wilder comes out with a high punch count again, like he did in the first fight, because as long as he's letting his hands go, he's dangerous, I just believe that for Wilder, you know, we know, he's only got one option of winning the fight, whereas Tyson can do it a number of ways. So, you know, I believe Tyson will do a good job on him again, but it'll just be interesting to see how the two go about the fight, because you saw Tyson make an adaptation from the first fight into the second fight. Tyson said all the time since that 12th round, Davisson recalled. Straight after the fight and all the next training camps, every time I spoke to him, Tyson was adamant that the way he wanted to go about the second fight, and he kept saying to me, I know I took something away from him. I know I took something away from him. And he proved to be right. You know, he did take something away from Wilder. Sometimes as a fighter in there, you can feel something that the trainer can't feel effectively while being in there. And I just feel that he felt that he took something away from Wilder, and it looked that way going into the second fight. Now Tyson made an adaptation there, and it will be for Wilder to make an adaptation. But there's only so many adaptations Wilder can make. You know, the main adaptation he'll be able to make in a short space of time is to go back to a higher punch count. But how long can he keep that up for? So it's definitely an interesting one, but definitely, I see Tyson doing another number on him. Whether he does it by outboxing him early and then setting about later on after a few rounds, or whether he goes straight back out there and sticks it straight back on Wilder again, you know we'll be waiting to see. You know, a lot of the videos floating around in reference to the third installment of Wilder versus Fury, they don't give Wilder a shot in the dark of winning that belt back. They don't.
Nope.
And I'll say that it's not doom and gloom for the sake of doom and gloom. They're not just writing him off for no reason. They're writing him off because they saw the first fight, they saw the second fight, and in both of those fights, there's a lot of people that feel Tyson Fury won them both, and he won them both in different fashions. So in the third fight, what the hell's Wilder gonna do different when you already had two chances to beat this guy and you haven't done it yet?
Yeah.
You hear Ben Davidson say that Tyson Fury walked away from the first fight feeling like he took something away from Wilder. And I think he did. I think if he took something away from Wilder in the first fight, it was Wilder's security blanket. Oh, Wilder can get up there in a press conference and say whatever he's got to say, make a show of it. But at the end of the day, Tyson Fury may just have taken something away from Wilder psychologically. We know what your best weapon is. We know your reputation. You're the knockout artist. But this guy, you hit this guy with your best shot 2 times, and you couldn't keep him down. You hypothesized that it's exactly the way that Tyson Fury was saying it was, that he took something away from Wilder in that first fight. You go into a second fight, just imagine how much more Tyson Fury took away from Wilder, putting the beating on him, upon him, that he did. Raining down blows, knocking him down, embarrassing him in his own backyard.
Yeesh.
How much more could Tyson Fury have taken away from Wilder in the second fight?
A lot.
What does he have left to bring to a third? Said it before, I'll say it again. Big punches like Deontay Wilder, once they are humbled, once they suffer their first professional loss, sometimes they don't bounce back from that. Sometimes they're never quite the same guys that they used to be. They can't throw their punches with the same conviction that they did before as they have been humbled. The ground has been swept from under them, and thereafter they lie in limbo, unsure of themselves, approaching fights without the same confidence that they did before they suffered their first professional loss. And we all know that Wilder, he's no strategist, he's no methodologist. This guy had one weapon. One surefire shot. One fail-safe if everything else is going wrong. The big right hand.
Yeah.
Well, the first time, you landed the big right hand 2 times. Couldn't keep the guy down. The second time, you didn't even get the opportunity to put that right hand into good use because this guy was beating you from pillar to post. Addressing Ben Davidson's contention that Deontay Wilder may approach the third fight as a busier fighter than he was in either the second fight or the first fight, that Deontay Wilder might go for the gusto because in this limited amount of time, even with the delay that the global pandemic is causing, in this limited amount of time, it's his only option. It's all you can do. That so long as you're throwing punches, given your punching power, so long as you're throwing punches, you got a shot.
That's what he said.
And because of this may be the adjustment that Wilder makes for the third fight. You think about a busier Deontay Wilder and what effect that could have on the third fight. Well, there's consequences to that. It is a trade-off, like all things are a trade-off. Deontay Wilder's not a guy who characteristically goes out there throwing a whole lot of punches. He waits for the right opportunity to catch a guy between the shots or with a shot that the guy doesn't see. That's how he gets his knockouts. This guy, he's not a volume guy, he's not an activity guy, nor has he ever been. So if he tries to be that guy against Tyson Fury, it could come at the cost of his energy reserves, because he's not used to throwing that many punches for that duration of time. And you think about the quality of Wilder's punches. Can he throw tight, defensible shots? The kind of shots that don't compromise defense for offense. Can he throw those kinds of punches for an extended amount of time while looking for a knockout against Tyson Fury? Can he actually do this? Or will him upping the volume, will him upping his activity level result in more countering opportunities for Tyson Fury, since Tyson Fury is the better boxer, the more educated puncher? That Tyson Fury can get on his front foot the way you can get on your front foot, but when he does it, he can do it in such a way that he's still being defensible whilst taking the offensive. You go out there throwing punches for the sake of throwing punches, and it could result in Tyson Fury being given that many more opportunities to counter you. This could come at the cost of several rounds, obviously, but this could also come at the cost of Deontay Wilder's energy reserves that much faster, as not only is there an expenditure of energy from your part from throwing more punches than you normally throw, but when you're throwing these punches, they're getting slipped, they're getting bobbed, they're getting weaved, they're getting countered. You know, I've always been of the opinion that even though a lot of times Deontay Wilder, he doesn't know what to do, he still knows what not to do, and that results in those economic performances where he's not doing a heck of a lot, he's behind on the cards, or he should be, and, you know, he's biding his time, waiting for the moment to let the right hand go. But what this results in, essentially, is a Wilder that doesn't throw a lot of punches. Because he knows, you know, in those moments where he's letting his hands go, like he did in the Gerald Washington fight, where his jab was being countered by Washington's jab, or the Spilka fight, you know, where he was trying to get something going, but he hyperextended, lunged in, and lost his footing, lost his balance, and hit the deck. You know, in those moments where Wilder's trying to be a busier fighter, he's given the other guy an opportunity to get into the fight. He knows that it could backfire, and that's why, characteristically, he doesn't let his hands go. If he does the opposite of this, in a third installment of Wilder versus Fury, it could end up costing him that much faster. It could end up costing him rounds, it could end up costing him energy, it could very well end up costing him the fight. And it's for this reason that most people, given this amount of time, they don't give Wilder much of a chance in a third fight. So, look, Wilder can up his activity. He can try to throw more punches, but the same applies. There's just not much chance of things working out for him in a third fight.